Hey guys, welcome back. It is week 4 in the month of peace, also known as the month of May. And in week 1, we talked about the definitions of peace. And in week 2, it was what are the things that destroy our inner peace. In week 3, we talked about what brings inner peace. And this week in week 4, we're going to talk about bringing peace to each other. And certainly that is appropriate this Memorial Day weekend when we are celebrating our troops and our military as they have fought diligently and sacrificed their lives in order to bring us peace and to allow us to keep our freedoms and not be at war with other countries. But it occurred to me this weekend as I was looking at all of these celebrations that even though they have done a great job at protecting us from war from other countries, we ourselves are at war with each other within our own borders. There's a lot of chaos in the United States right now, and we are causing each other calamity. And so I thought that this was a very curious notion, especially in light of people saying Team USA and waving the American flag. So what are those ways that we can bring peace to each other? First, I want to highlight some ways that we are destroying our peace and purposely taking away peace from each other. Certainly there are drug companies who are charging a lot of money, and there are medications that are out of reach for a lot of people and they can't get the care that they need. There are insurance companies who are refusing to pay for certain procedures because it's too expensive. There are other types of insurance, liability and car and collision insurance, where again the insurance companies are not choosing to do the right thing because it's cheaper, and then that causes chaos to the consumer. There are companies who are creating products that are unhealthy to our bodies and unhealthy to our minds, and is causing chaos in our families. There are companies who are knowingly putting chemicals into our food that's causing cancer, chemicals into our environment, into the air, into the ocean, into the ground that are causing cancer. And then there certainly are the advertisers who are luring us into spending money that we don't have. And there are media companies who are promoting gossip, on the front of the magazines, and unhealthy competition and judgment. You can't really look at a magazine without seeing what celebrity looks horrible without makeup, or who wore the outfit better. This person was a disaster. This person was perfection. We have this society that we are pitting ourselves against one another, and we are not taking care of one another. And so it's curious to me that we enjoy our quote-unquote freedoms and peace in the United States, and yet we are actively doing the exact opposite. And certainly the news outlets are also participating in this, because the news comes from one side of the argument or the other, and it's always their side is better, the other side is wrong. And so while we say that we want liberty and justice for all, we are not actively working for liberty and justice for all, because we're not having this team concept. So if you remember from a couple of weeks ago, the definition of team was simply a group of people working together for a common goal. And while we say that the common goal is liberty and justice, really what it is the individual greed and the individual bottom line of each particular company, of each particular family, of each individual. And so when it comes to these hot topics, such as abortion or such as gun control or any of the other, marriage or, between a man and a woman, anytime we come across these hot topics, even in healthcare, we automatically pit ourselves against each other. We automatically have this way of saying, well, which side am I going to be on? And maybe we don't agree completely with one side, but because we are so divided, we feel like as if we have to pick a side, and then because there's a lack of trust, then we're yelling at each other rather than listening. So in this team concept, the way that we can bring the team concept to each other, the way that we can bring peace to one another, rather, and the way that we can start to work together in the United States is to develop this sense of a goal that is taking care of each other rather than purposely destroying each other. And we may not say that's what we're doing, but certainly when we look at the advertisements and when we look at, refusing to provide certain services because it's too expensive, that is in effect what we are doing. It's this passive way of saying, well, I'm going to do this to make money, and you don't have to choose to buy it. You don't have to choose to watch this movie or that degrades people, or you don't have to watch this comedy show. But we are putting this out into society, and we are tripping each other up. And so the way that we can do this on an individual level is just to take a look at what we are doing in our own lives and to see if we are working for the team or against the team. Certainly in our own family, if we are eating in a way that is causing us to have health issues and causing our family budget to skyrocket because we are in need of higher medical expenses or higher drug costs or whatever, that is not working for the team. If we are an overachiever, if we are a perfectionist, if we are someone who is a workaholic, for example, and our insecurities are causing us to want a certain amount of wealth or a certain amount of economic status, is that really what's best for the family? Or is that eroding the trust that you have and eroding the relationships that you have in that family? Whatever it is that we are doing, is it promoting teamwork? Is it causing the rest of the family members to have a better life, or are we working against that and causing chaos so that the other family members have to turn around and use resources that they shouldn't have to help us out, or sacrifice time because we want a higher economic status? And it certainly goes out from there. In our communities, are we behaving in a way that is for each other in our communities? So when it comes to abortion, are we willing to get involved in the foster care program? Are we willing to adopt a baby that otherwise might be aborted? Are we willing to financially support a young woman who is pregnant and might not be able to stay in school or to keep her job if she keeps her baby? So are we willing to come alongside her and support her? Are we willing to jump in and help the homeless? Are we willing to get the counseling that we need? Are we willing to help out mentoring other people to give them a hand up instead of a hand out? There are many things that we can do to get involved, but also our jobs. Take a look at where you're working. Are you working in a place, in an insurance company, at a company, that's making a product, at a news outlet, at a media agency? Are you working in a place that is for people, that is for the citizens of the United States? Or are you working for a place that is undermining our health and undermining our mental and emotional health? There's so much depression and so much suicide and so much chaos in the United States right now. And so to give each other peace, certainly we have to be able to listen to each other and validate each other and not be so afraid of the other opinion, the other race, the other ethnicity. But in order to do that, we have to have this team concept where we are for each other. We are going to behave in a way on the freeway, in the supermarket, at our job, in our families, that is for one another, instead of working against one another. We can't solve any of these problems with abortion or gun control or any other calamity or any other issue in the United States until we start being for one another. And when it comes to these issues, it's not a black and white issue. There are ways that we can look at things of doing things we can say that it's the right way or the wrong way, but underneath all of these issues is a human heart, a human issue, a human being who has dreams and desires and goals. And if we can get to that level where we are for one another and develop a trust with one another and stop working against one another with all of these behaviors and these products and these all the media things, everything that I mentioned, if we can stop fighting against one another and start working for one another, I think that will bring peace to the United States like we never have before. So thank you for watching. As always, let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to follow along in the journal, you can certainly do that on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. So thank you so much. Let me know what you think, and I will see you guys next week in Patience in the month of June. Thank you so much. Bye.